Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Wayne Gaming and 70 Mounts Word of the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Conway, Wolf's Path. Oh, got hair in my eye. Alright, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Will do. Thank you, Bandil. As you walk away, you turn to look back once more and see the hare preparing another serving for the person waiting behind you. The hare's upbeat demeanor clearly not being a one-off. He must enjoy what he's doing, and you can't wait to see out what other meals he'll be able to put together. With your meal in hand, you make your way to Wolf in the corner, who, upon spotting you, glances briefly in your direction before lowering his head again as he continues to eat. He swipes up some of the sauce with the bread before he takes a bite of it. The spot he picked doesn't appear to be the most comfortable one, since he is just sitting on the floor, but it does suit Wolf quite well. The light from the lamps gets dimmer and dimmer as you walk over and drop yourself down to the deck right next to the canine. There are other spaces available, you know. I do, but I figured you look a bit lonely out here. Probably won't hurt. The canine nods with some reluctance, but doesn't protest your presence any further. You pry off a piece of the salmon with your fork and give it a first taste. Just as you hoped, it was fantastic. The fish had been cooked to perfection, its smooth texture and delicate flavor making it a true delicacy. But it was the sauce that really takes the dish to the next level. The sauce was rich and creamy, with just the right amount of tang that complements the flavors of the fish and a hint of herbs from the greens scattered across. Oh, it was heaven! Wolf doesn't appear to mind you enough to move away by the looks of it, so you follow Wolf's unspoken wish, keep quiet and take another bite of the fish. He does the same. The silence between the two of you is a very welcome respite from the hectic day, and the chatter and the commotion in the room starts to become increasingly distant as the seconds pass by. Perfect to relax a little. You watch the others in the flickering of the orange light and really notice for the first time just how varied the people on this ship are. But perhaps it wasn't that surprising given the corners of the planet it stops at. Foxes, antelope, a rhino and bear, a couple of birds, and not to mention all the canine and feline variants. Variety much beyond what you know from your own hometown with the mostly regional species, or maybe it just appears to you like that because of how unusual some of them are to you. Oh god, the bread is delicious too. Still warm and fresh with a wonderfully crunchy outside that gives way to fluffy soft center. And dipped into the sauce it becomes even better. Oh Bandil, you god among us mere mortals. It's not even such an intricate dish, however, it is simply done to perfection. You notice your tail swaying a little too excitedly across the rough wooden floor and rein it back in. Oh man, this is really good. One of the best fish I've ever had. You see Wolf's ear twitch ever so subtly as you break the silence. His head turns by only a degree or two before he focuses back onto his plate, at which point was almost empty. You notice the state of his plate. You do feel a little guilty for gushing about your meal when he's almost done. After a second or two, he nods and swallows down what he was chewing on. It is really good. You couldn't see it, but you bet on Wolf having said that with a smile. Bandil, you really are a god, even managing to brighten Wolf's day. Alright. I talked to him a little bit. Seems like a nice guy. Talked with who? You chew quickly after you've just taken another bite, so that you don't have to respond with a full mouth. Bandil, the cook! Long ears, bit bouncy? Yes, I know what a cook is and who handed me dinner. Wolf waves off your over-explaining with his right hand. I don't pray to God nearly enough for him to start making plates of food appear out of the ether for me. You slice one of the asparagus in half and pick it up with your hands, dangle over your muzzle before dropping it in. Probably for the best. Just imagine how many people would be hounding around you. Wolf snorts under his breath. Could do without that. I'm curious why you joined this crew, though, Wolf. Why? What's it to you? I already told you it's just work for me. He glances over his shoulder, his eyes catching the glimmer of the lamps on the nearby tables. Not everyone's a bright-eyed adventurer, kid. How's that so difficult to understand? You shrugged yourself as he turns away from you again. It just doesn't feel like the obvious choice. There's plenty of work around. You don't need to add to the potential danger of ship crossing the oceans when all you need is money. Almost half a minute passes in silence between the two of you. The loud clatter of a mug hitting the floor fills the room, and most of the crew burst out cheering and laughter for whoever managed to drop it. Wolf keeps his head low and balances the coin he had been playing with on the deck against the floor, giving it an occasional twirl with his thumb. Maybe I just like the thrill. He leans back against the wooden pillar behind him and lays his head back into his neck, the thick fluff of his throat fanning out under his jaw. Or maybe I'd have to kill you if I told you. He says it with a smirk across his lips that doesn't quite make it clear whether he means it or not. Well, I can find on a ship the perfect place for it. Why so confident about that? Nobody's gonna suspect foul play when a greenhorn goes overboard on his first morning watch. It's dark. Slippery. Very easy for something unfortunate to happen. He appears to have spent a little too much time thinking about this for your liking. I won't ask then. The smirk on his face widens into a grin that shows some of his teeth blitzing through. Good. You're finally starting to get it. Silence returns between the two of you, and you focus on your meal again. The bright, metallic scraping of your fork reaches your ears as you separate another piece of the salmon, followed by the balancing act of getting it to your muzzle quickly enough not to drip any sauce on yourself. Just as you're getting used to being in the moment, you spot someone emerging from the crowd in the center. A familiar set of ears with a bandana underneath are bobbing in your direction. Samuel. With his hands on his belt, he makes his way over to the two of you. Yo! You crane your neck back to look up at the maned wolf, who, silhouetted against the lamps of the common area of the deck to the point where you barely can make out any of his features. Bah. Wolf looks up at him just the same and stops playing with the coin. Yes? You two found a cozy spot over here, not too dark to eat. Just about works. And the quiet is welcome after today. Been a bit of a, I guess, exciting day. I get it. It can be tough sometimes if you have one of these periods where you simply can't stand seeing someone. And you're just holed up in this thing, not able to avoid them. Not at this point yet, thankfully. The lizard's getting pretty close. Samuel crosses his arms over his chest. I'm sure he'll get the hint eventually. Maybe. Anyway, I didn't want to bother you for too long. I simply wanted to let you both know that we've got the morning watch tomorrow. Morning watch? Yes, nothing that bad usually. Just waking up can be tough. So I wanted to let you know to not make it too long of an evening today, as I'd rather not have to catch your slack tomorrow. Gotcha. I'll keep it in mind. Perfect. That's all I wanted. Enjoy the peace and quiet. And as quickly as he came, he leaves again, back to the table where he is sitting with Julian and a few others. They look to have a much more lively evening than you over here, but you don't mind. Morning watch. Probably going to be quieter. I assume you actually prefer it this way. I don't mind it, at least. Which is good enough for me. He flicks the coin in the air and this time doesn't manage to catch it. Instead, it bounces off the floorboards and rolls straight to your paws, bumping against it and toppling over. The face of the coin shines brightly as it reflects the light from the lamps. It's too far away for Wolf to simply grab it, so you reach for it while you have the chance. At first glance, it looks like any other coin, but when you run your fingers over it, you can quickly tell that something feels off. You inspect it closer and you notice that it doesn't look like any coin you've ever handled, but the darkness makes it hard to see properly. What is this coin? Wolf has been looking at you expectantly, waiting for you to return it. It's a coin. What do you mean? You hold it up to your eye, trying to get a better look at it in the dim light, but struggle to make out much beyond the hole that has been punched into it. I've never seen one like it. It's not from this region, is it? No, it's not. Someone gave it to me as a gift. Oh, that's kind of them. Was it a gift from this voyage? Something to remind you of your friends while you're away? Wolf shakes his head and leans towards you. He reaches for the coin, but you dodge his grasp. I just want to have a better look at it, Wolf. I'll give it back to you in a second. The canine huffs audibly, but doesn't try to grab it again. He gave it to me a few years ago. We haven't seen each other in a while. And I think it'll be a while still before we do. It's difficult to see one another again? I'm sorry to hear. I guess sometimes the paths of friends just end up splitting off from one another. Yeah. Slowly you manage to put the shapes that are stamped into the coin together, a head on the one side and a crest on the other. One that carries several fleur-de-lis. It's from France, if I'm not mistaken. Fleur-de-lis. Fleur-de-lis, probably. Or the lie. Correct. So, he's French? That friend of yours. Is he even a friend or a lady waiting for your return? Wolf groans as you continue your game of questions and holds out his paw for the coin to put an end to it. With a flick of his fingers, he emphasizes his demand and you give in, placing it in the middle of his palm. He is not. Are you done with your questions? I preferred when you were quiet. The coin quickly disappears into the pocket of his breeches. Not really, but I understand. Is it so bad that I'm interested in it, and to get to know the people I'm going to be working with? It isn't. See? Look, kid, it's just a job for me. That's all there is to it. I didn't come here to make friends or sit around a lantern sharing stories. I didn't either, but it makes the time on here more enjoyable, instead of just, going through the motions. Of course, I can't force you to do anything, though, so if you just want to do the job, then you just do the job. He slowly lifts himself off the ground with one arm, taking his empty plate with him. See you on the morning watch. And with that, he simply turns away and leaves you to sit there and watch him walk off to the cook to get rid of the plate. Just work it is, I guess. As good a time as any to finish up your dinner, too, and you take a bite of the bread. Soon enough, it's all gone, and you, too, are on your way to get some rest. The hammock does a good job catching the gentle sway of the ship as it moves through the night. After a while, the comfort of sleep envelops you. Day 2. A voice enters your surroundings from a realm beyond, resonating through space itself. You're talking to someone you know, but not really, whose face is strangely blurry whenever you look. Hey. It gets harder and harder to focus on the person. You feel your feet start to feel unsteady with the movement of the earth beneath you. Hey! Suddenly, with familiarity, the voice returns to your mind and is sucked into the here and now. It's not on stable ground, you feel, but the sway of your hammock. Samuel. Right, you remember, that wonderful maned wolf. The ship's interior emerges around you. You turn in your hammock and find Samuel waiting for you to wake up. That's not... What? Ah! That's funny. What? Samuel? Hey! I'm awake, but... You can hardly believe your eyes, nor can you stop them from wandering. Down his shoulders, the curve of his back, his tail, his rear. I wanted to wake you up before the others, he suggests. Spend a little more time with you. I said, hey, wake up! Light enters this world from the edge of your vision. In that instant, the barrier between the two worlds in your mind is broken. The desired world of your dream vanishes, replaced with yours, filled with nothing but the sight of a crudely woven hammock. You close your eyelids forcefully, not to fall asleep again, but to fight the yawn that is sure to follow. Despite your best efforts, you yawn anyway. Good morning! Ugh, hey, Samuel. Is it time already? The maned wolf leans against a structural pillar and watches you come to your senses in the hammock. It sure is. The 7th bell just rang, so we've got about an hour. Got about half an hour. I've also brought something to eat. It's nothing fancy, mind you. Bandille's not up this early, so leftovers it is. Slowly you get up in the hammock, careful to not bang your head on the beams above. Getting out of the hammock proves to be much easier than it was getting in, and you quickly find yourself with your paws firmly on the deck. You look tired. Didn't sleep well. You shake your head and take a piece of bread from the plate Samuel has brought. All's fine. It's nothing. Just a slow start. Samuel reaches down and breaks off a piece of the bread for himself. I get you. I also haven't managed to wake up Wolf or Julian yet. Can you help with one of them? Sure, I'll get Wolf. Thank you. Take some food with you for him. Sure. Where's he sleeping again? Just over there. One of them. Excuse me. Samuel points you to the hammocks on the other side of the deck. You do as he suggests, take up a piece of the bread and make your way over to it. In the end, it is no trouble to find him as you discover him to be in the process of getting up anyway. The deep black of his fur is one of a kind on this ship as far as you have seen. Oh! You're awake! First his ears swivel to you before his head follows. Yes? What is it? Nothing. I was told to wake you up, but it seems that's not necessary. I am a light sleeper. You pause in front of the hammock, unsure of what to do with yourself, until you remember the breakfast you're holding in your hand. You hold out the rather sad-looking ration for Wolf. I do have your breakfast, too. The canine unties one side of the hammock and brings it over to stow it away for the day. I appreciate it. Give me a second here. Patiently, you continue to hold his breakfast while he is busy cleaning up his space. Perhaps you should have done the same. He pauses for a few seconds before he finishes strapping the hammock to the ship's hull. Slowly, he turns to face you and takes his breakfast from your paws. He squeezes the piece of bread and watches the already hardening piece give way under the pressure. Stale bread, my favorite. Don't shoot the messenger, I didn't get anything else. Don't worry, I've had worse. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for what I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Summer. Thank you all above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks to our 3 gold tier patrons, Zeke, Toby, and Blue Wolf Alpha. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if you want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our Safe for Work contents as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!